Guys and girls, it's Know It Time! Know It Time!
Alright guys, so today I'm going to start a new chapter with you, and this chapter is really called Sequences and Series. Now, a lot of people tend to do well on these chapters. I actually saved the easiest units for last. Okay. Actually, you actually did all the hardest units first already. Other teachers did the easy units first, but I actually kind of scared you guys. I want to see who can handle the pressure within the first month of school. Those of you who can't handle it, you're gone already. Alright. Within the first couple weeks, people say, "No, I can't handle this." This is why I said I actually started with the hardest unit. I want to see who can put up with the hardest unit first. Now, this is actually the easiest unit left. Sequence and series. Here's how it works. So, guys and gals, it's Know It Time. Your favorite time of the day. And you get new lines today. This is what you had last time. Here is your 2 lines for today. You waited 7 days for this. I guarantee you it's worth the wait. 1, 2 is worth. I don't know what thing you're talking about. I don't know. So here is your lesson today, sequence and series. Now, sequence and series really is all about patterns. Okay? Patterns. A lot of you can see patterns, and so you do really well. For example, if I give you this pattern, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do you appreciate? There's only one answer for that. We know the right answer. Okay. Two, 4, 6, 8. So really, this pattern goes on. If I were to ask you, find the 20th term. Guys, I'm going to pause it. This, I'm going to ask random. Pawan, what's your guess going to be? 20th term? You don't know? Harmeet, say guess. Harmeet says Mr. knows 40. Now, I don't know if it's correct or not. Some of you sat here and say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and wrote all the way up to 40. Works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of you say, hey, look, there's this trick. The first term is 2. Second term is 4. All I did was I multiplied by 2. Jason?
What if it started from 0?
If it started from 0, then what Hershey bar said. So really, there's always a pattern. But really, if I give you something a bit more complex, try this one. 11, 15, 19, ... Find the 37th term. See, with this one, I want to see how many can come up with a formula for this. Harmeet guesses 159. Harmeet's other half, Harneet. Take a guess. You guys are like opposites. Harmeet. Oh, you didn't do it? Okay. Any other guesses? Harmeet, how do you get 159?
I found the pattern was going up by 4, so we did 4 times 37. Then I added 11, could start from 11.
Okay, so you said, hey, look, the pattern was go up by 4. So you went 4 times 37. And then what did you do? You add 11. Now, I'm not sure if that works or not. But I'm going to show you the trick. Or if it works, it works. Then you found the trick. But really, so there has to be some mathematical formula. And what I'm going to teach you first is something called arithmetic. Arithmetic sequence. Arithmetic sequence, I'm going to ask you to underline the word arithmetic and the word sequence. Sequence really means pattern of numbers. Pattern of numbers. Okay. Or what's the pattern going to be? Arithmetic means add slash subtract to get next number. By the way, this is the first year they're bringing this back. Arithmetic sequence was something I've learned when I was your age, 3 years ago, and then they cut it out. And seriously, so they actually brought this back. Arithmetic sequence, people stopped learning about it. The government says we don't need to learn this anymore, and for some weird reason, they actually brought it back. And I was in grade 10 when I actually learned this stuff. So now they made it in grade 11 because they thought the grade 10s can handle this. Grade 11 probably can do it. So this is basically add slash subtract to get to the next number. If I look at my pattern, I have 11, 15, 19. Notice I'm adding a certain number each time to get to the next number. And that magic number is 4. So in this case, I'm adding 4. So we're going to say adding 4 because this pattern. The pattern has to be consistent through each time you do. Now, in mathematic terms, the equation is very similar to what Harmeet just found. Okay, we're going to actually do this. The formula is actually very similar to what Harmeet just said. He says, so we're going to do this TN. TN stands for terrific no, by the way. So that stands for TN. And guess who came up with this formula? Some guy named TN. Times A, no, not the 3i guy, plus N minus 1 times D. I'm going to show you where people make mistakes all the time. A stands for your first term, because it's the first letter alphabet, so they use A. First term. D is the difference, or what you add or subtract. Add slash subtract. Okay. N is your term number, meaning what position I'm looking for. Term number. And finally, there's one last one, and that's TN. TN is your actual term. Actual term at that position. So TN is like one whole thing. Okay, TN is one whole big thing. No. See, they're saying so I'm asking for what is the 37th term? So I want you to write down what A equals to, what N equals to, and what D equals to. A and D. Okay, just look at your pattern right now. A is your first term. Krista, what's the first term going to be? 11. So we're going to write in 11. Okay, keep it simple. I'm not dealing too hard. Okay. Lavraj, what's your N going to be? This is a bit more tricky. Because N is how many terms I'm looking for. So what term am I looking for?
37.
So N is 37. Okay. Again, I keep it simple. And Ruby, what's D? 4. Guys, this is how we're going to plug in the formula. See, this says T37, which means the term at the 37th position. That's how you read this. What is the term at the 37th position? Plug in the formula right now. A is 11 plus, okay, just keep it simple, 36 times 4. So Harmeet, everything you did was correct except for one little thing. You said 37, but in reality it was 36. Okay, but well done. Yeah, I actually got that far. And you know what? Some guy became famous. Right? That could have been you. If you were born 2,000 years earlier, that could have been you. We could have been studying about you right now. So if you ever come up with some famous formula for some weird pattern, you'll be famous, and every high school kid will be learning about you. Okay. And guys, gals, all we're going to do is just expand this out and work with this. So go 36 times 4 plus 11. See? So it'll be 155. So instead of really writing out the whole number, I can just say the number is 155. Try this one. -4, -7, -10, ... Find. I want to know what is the 27th position. Okay, or what is the 27th term going to be? I'm going to pause it. I'm going to save time. I'm going to keep on just subbing in. So I know I'm looking for t of 27 equals to -4 plus, this is, Malika, what goes in the bracket? 20, sorry? Sorry? 26, yep. 26, because remember you got to subtract 1 from that. Times, Harneet, what is it going to be? Ooh, is correct. Okay, -3 is correct. Again, make sure you have your negatives correctly. So punch in your calculator. 26 times -3 and plus -4. Bada bing, bada boom. -82. So if you expand this out all the way to 27 terms, you have -82. Try this one. Again, nothing tricky, because I'm making life easy for you guys. -7, -14, -20, -27. Find t 30. And there's no talking. Nope. Nope. This is exactly the way you see it. What is the 30th term going to be? 30th term. Next number in sequence, -33. Dot, dot, dot. Serena, take a guess. Jessica, take a guess. So, Hershey bar. No idea. Loveline, take a guess. See, if you use the formula Tn equals to A plus n minus 1, it's wrong. Why is this formula wrong? Because this formula only works if it's arithmetic sequence series. First of all, I look at here, and in order for it to be arithmetic, all the numbers you add or subtract must be exactly the same. If I look at here, -7 to -14, really, that's -7. Okay? But all of a sudden, you get up to here, look, it changes. This, the moment it changes, it's no longer a proper arithmetic sequence. So let's write this as a star. You cannot solve this question. Solve this because it is not a proper. On exams, you'll be given sort of tricks like this. You got to be careful about it because it is not a proper arithmetic sequence. Sorry? It's not a proper, because if it's arithmetic, all the numbers must be the exact same thing. The D value has to be the exact same thing.
Isn't it pronounced arithmetic?
Arithmetic, potato, we eat butter chicken, and then, you know. That's because it is not a proper sequence. Guys, gals, it has to be a proper one before you can use it. A bit more challenging this time. Try this one. Good luck. Nope, you're not ready for it yet. I'll know when it's dot. The number is 170. Your question is, how many terms are there? Oh, please. How many terms are there? So I'm starting at -4, 2, 8, dot. It goes all the way up to 170. Once I stop, how many terms? In this question, I know it's an arithmetic sequence, which is correct, because all the patterns are the same. So right off the bat, I know I'm going to use the formula Tn equals to A plus N minus 1 times D. Okay? Amar, what am I actually solving for this one? Tn, A, N, or D? You're solving for N. Because I'm looking for how many terms are there. If you're solving for N, I'm going to just step into things slowly right now. A is -4 plus N minus 1. D is 6. The problem now is I must have Tn. Darsho, what's Tn going to be? 170. So just put in 170. Guys, let's use algebra and solve it now. Okay, move things over slowly. So I'm going to move the 4 over first. That gives you 174 equals to N minus 1 times 6. And go ahead and solve for N right now. If I solve for N, that's going to be 174 divided by 6. But you got to do one more thing to it. You got to plus 1. So it'll be 29 equals to N minus 1, N equals to 30. So guys, in total, there are 30 terms. Here is your supernova question. I'm going to make this a group challenge. Your group has to get it right. Nope, I'm going to make it Harsh. Sorry, course. Yep, up. You have a choice, Harsh. Either that row or that row. They're missing. Here is your supernova challenge for today. Good luck. Each group can only submit in one answer. Remember that. Here is your question. It says this. The third term is -32. The seventh term by the way, this is a famous exam question. I advise you, if you don't get the first time, learn how to do it. Is -70. Find the first two terms. So what is the first two terms going to be? Group challenge. Good luck. The third term I'm giving to you. I'm also giving you the seventh term. Only thing I'm asking you is, what is the first two terms? So T7 is -80. Not -70. -80. So a lot of you, when I went through this, played the guessing game. I'll have to solve this. Guys, I'm going to show you the proper method of how to solve this. Now, this method, I actually made it up. I nicknamed this a method. Good thing. So find the first two terms. See, a lot of you play the guessing testing game, but I'm going to show you the proper method. Now, I call this method, I nicknamed this method, throw some D's on it. It's called throw some D's on it. Yeah. I actually nicknamed this method. It's called throw some D's on it. I was listening to Soulja Boy one day and I'm like, hey, how can I use this in math? And I actually came up with a way to use it in real math. It is.
Soldier Boy isn't good enough.
So here is how this is done. So I know the third term is 32. What we're going to do is we'll leave a blank. We'll call this T3. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to leave another blank. 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is T7. Okay. Forget about the first two terms. For now, I want you to label your third term as negative 32. Negative 32, done. I want you to label T7. That's negative 80. Okay, done. Would you agree that to go from the third term to the fourth term, what do we add? Oh, it is negative 12, but we added D. Let's say I don't know what it is. I'm going to throw some D's on it right now. To go from fourth term to the fifth term, guess what we're going to add? D. Let's throw some more D's on it. Guys, gals, I want you to keep throwing D's on it until you get to T7. Okay? Throw some D's on it. Agree? Very simple. So now, once you get up to here, would you agree to go from third term to seventh term? We can write this. Negative 32 plus, guess how many D's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 32 plus 4D equals to negative 80. Take a minute to solve for D. Oh, very, very clever, Mr. No. This is called throw some D's on it. If you follow the book's method, you're going to use algebra. It's heavy-duty algebra. 2 equations, 2 unknowns, and you got to solve it. Very complex. Why don't we make it something? Why don't we do something easier? Throw some D's on it. Okay. And if I solve this, you should get D equals to negative 12. But the question is not asking what D is. They're asking what's the first two terms. So if they're asking what their first two terms is, I want you to leave 2 more blanks. And we work backwards. Now, we know this is negative 12, so you should work backwards using 12 as your difference. This has to be negative 20. And this has to be negative 8. See? If I know my D, I can work backwards to get my first two terms. Try this on your own. Okay? Because a lot of you, I walked around, you did the guessing and testing method. But guys, really, there's no guessing testing. We're going to throw some D's on it. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Try this one. Again, I'm just going to make it up. T2 equals to 32. T4 equals to 64. Find T6. Good luck. If I were to work with this, and I find T6, again, I will start with T2, T3, T4. This is 32. This is 64. And I'm just going to see. Jessica, how many D's did you throw on? 4 D's? 4 D's. Whoa, 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 whoa. How many D's did you throw on? 2. See? From here to here, that's 1 D. I'm going to just throw some D's on it, and I'm going to check how many D's are there in total. So in reality, I can write this equation as 32 plus 2D equals to 64. See, no tricks. And take a minute to solve for D, and I believe D should be 16. Once you have D, you can find T5, and just simply add T6. 16, that should be, Manraj, sorry, David, what do you have? 96. Voila. See, easy stuff. Took me less than a minute to solve this question. If you played the guessing and testing method, it will take you about 5 minutes. I'm going to give you one more super note question for today. And this is an individual challenge. Individual challenge. I advise you to learn this because every super note question, remember, will be tested again on your test. I know some of you say, Mr. No, we never learned this before. Good luck. 5x plus 2 7x minus 4. 10x plus 6. Are these are 3 plus 6.
Is that minus 4?
Yep. These are 3 consecutive terms. Consecutive terms for an arithmetic sequence. Your job is to tell me what are the 3 terms. What are the 3 numbers going to be? Okay. See, if I sub in a value for x, I get 3 consecutive terms. 3 consecutive terms means these are the pattern. 1, 2, 3. This is term 1, this is term 2, this is term 3. I want to show me full work. Answer means nothing to me. What is the actual number? So let's say if I choose x equals to 1, then this will be 7, 3, and this will be 16 if x equals to 1. But if x equals to 1, you got 7, 3, 16. This doesn't work because this is not an arithmetic sequence. So first of all, you got to figure out what is the right x value, and from that tell me what the 3 terms are. This is as hard as it gets on your exam. Good luck. I'm going to pause it. You're stuck. So here's a hint. Let's say my pattern is 3, 5, and 7. Okay, let's say a simple question. Hartej, what's your D value? What's the D value for this one? 2. How do you get 2? So you say, hey, so 3 plus 2 is giving you 5. But to find D, would you agree that you can take the second term minus the first term? Or you can take the third term minus the second term. That's how you find D, and that's your hint. Good luck. The whole concept really is getting D. To find D, one method I said was you can take your second term minus your first term. So why don't we take our second term minus our first term right now? So we go 7x minus 4 minus, and look, I'm going to use brackets because it makes a huge difference later on. 5x plus 2. Would you agree that's how I find D? I want you to simplify this right now and tell me what you have. If you simplify this, you get 2x minus 6 equals to D. But that's only one method to find D. You can also find D by taking the third term minus the second term. So why don't we take the third term minus the second term? Do that for me, please, right now. So you take your third term minus your second term, which is 10x plus 6. Again, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to use brackets. Most students don't use brackets, and that's where they went wrong. 7x minus 4. I'm going to simplify, and you would get 3x plus 10 equals to D. I have 2 equations for D. One is this equation. One is this equation. In an arithmetic sequence, remember what I said, all your D's must be the same. So why don't we set this equation equal to this equation? Because if they're the same, they should equal to each other. So we go 2x minus 6 equals to 3x plus 10. Solve for x right now. So all we're going to do now is take a minute and solve for x. So x equals to negative 16. But the question is not asking you for x, they're asking you what are the 3 numbers. Once you have x, go back into this equation and sub it in to find your three magic numbers. So you go 5 times negative 16 plus 2. So my first term is going to be negative 78. My second term, I'm going to do the exact same thing. 116 and finally negative 154. That's your answer. On your exam, here's how I'm going to mark this. I will give you 1 mark if you set up this question correct. 1 mark if you have X correct. And finally 1 mark if you can give me the 3 numbers. So if all you can do is get me this one equation right here and you're stuck, you only get half a mark. To get the full 3 marks, you got to figure out what I did from start to finish. Guys, gals, your work for today. Page. That's it. Was it that hard? No, not really. It just takes a bit of critical thinking. 116. Number 1 and page 16. One, 2, 11. I want you to do ace every other question because there's no point making you do all the question. It's really the same. And not yet. Numero 16. 16 you should be able to do. Guys, gals, get crack-a-lackin'. That ends our lesson for the first half.